What is up, guys? It is the Sound Alchemist, and today I'm back to bring you some more info on Warhammer. However, it's not about Warhammer 40k nor 30k. Today I am talking about Warhammer Age of Sigmar. So yes, you guys are correct. You heard that right. I did say Age of Sigmar. So about 2-3 weeks ago, we were looking at the models for AOS, and we noticed that they're pretty badass looking. Oftentimes, the sculpts for Age of Sigmar beat out the sculpts for Warhammer 40k. And that's saying something, because some of these Warhammer 40,000 sculpts are fantabulous. They look really awesome, intricate details, but when it comes to AOS, oftentimes they look a little bit better, at least in our opinion. So, with that being said, we decided to try out Age of Sigmar. We actually went to the Warhammer store, and we had a really nice guy help us out, kind of learn the flow of the game. We used some starter armies. I believe it was the Stormcast Eternals and the Nighthaunts. Gershwin was using the Stormcasts, I was using the Nighthaunts, and we had like a little mock game. Somewhat, we played like 2-3 rounds and we kind of got the feel for it. And from what we played, it's pretty fun. Not just that, but diving into this new, I guess, iteration of a war game. It was like a fresh breath of air. A breath of fresh air? You guys know how the saying goes. But yeah, it was really fun, really amazing. I really enjoyed the whole aspect of you can potentially have two turns, meaning that at the beginning of every turn, you and your opponent roll off and the winner goes. So let's say I won my first roll, so I would go first, and then Gershwin would go, and then we'd roll off again. And if Gershwin would have beaten me, he would go again, and then it'd be me. So essentially it'd be me, Gershwin again, then me, then we'd roll off again. So there's a lot of strategy to that, because you have to plan ahead. You always have to think in the back of your mind, if I move here, how is he going to react if he gets a double turn? Or are you going to put all your eggs in one basket and bank on the chances of you beating out your opponent and going twice in a row? So it's very strategic, and it's very streamlined as well. With 40k, you have tons of rules to think about, not just for yourself, but for your opponent. Oh, my opponent has a strong toughness, so I gotta make sure I hit him with something that's gonna have an armor penetration that's gonna be really good. With Age of Sigmar, there is no toughness. You hit on a straight, die roll, and you wound in a straight die roll that's on your war scroll. So you don't even have to think about the enemy. Say the enemy's like a Stormcast Eternal, you don't have to think about, oh, these guys are tough. No, you just have to think about, oh, my weapon is pretty good. It's going to hit on a 3, wound on a 3, so I don't have to think about, too much about that aspect. So it's very streamlined that way. AP is also a thing. It's just called Rend. However, I don't have to worry about that, because the army that I'm going to start with is the Nighthaunts, the ghosts of Age of Sigmar. And it's a good time to start Nighthaunts because Halloween is right around the corner. So I'm pumped. I'd say Halloween is probably my favorite holiday of the year, and just the whole creepiness of it, the haunted houses, spooky movies. I just like the overall theme. Not just that, but the weather gets to be cozy. It's fall, pumpkin season. Go out, go trick-or-treating, go into some corn mazes, that kind of thing. So Nighthaunts are really cool. Anyway, I went on a little tangent. But going back to that, Nighthaunts have an ability where they're ethereal. So it kind of plays into the Tau, because Tau have ethereals. But anyway, it's another tangent. So the ethereal rule basically allows them to just ignore Rends. So let's say I was playing against Gershwin, and he has a weapon, power sword, that has like a rend -3. So normally I wouldn't get a save because it's so powerful of a sword, but my guys are ethereal, they're ghosts, so they don't have to worry about the sword being super strong. It hits like any other weapon to them. So I like that. And it's a kind of a horde army, which I've never played a horde army before. Obviously you guys would have known that I play Tau, I've played Grey Knights, I play Space Marines and Chaos Space Marines, and for the most part, horde armies weren't never in my area of expertise. Yes, I played against horde armies, especially with Gershwin's orcs, but now I get to play for myself a horde army with a bunch of ghosts going after my enemies, basically overwhelming him with a bunch of bodies. So normally, where if I lost a unit, it would really impact me, but with the Nighthaunts, I feel like that won't really play too much, as how it would in Warhammer 40k. So you guys can expect some awesome 40k stuff, as well as Age of Sigmar, in the ensuing weeks or months, I believe. We're thinking about maybe doing like a sit and paint where we talk to you guys, answer questions while we build our models, paint up our models. We'll see what we do. We already bought some models for ourselves. Gershwin, for some reason, had been buying loads and loads of Age of Sigmar models throughout the years, and after going through his closet, he basically has a good portion of all the Grand Alliance of Order. So he's got like Sigmarines, Sigmarines. He's got Stormcast Eternals in there. He's got some pretty awesome of the dwarves, the Iron Dwarves and Balloons. So he could play a variety of armies already. Me, I've only bought my 2 HQs, or heroes as they're called. I'm using Lady Olander, which is a really awesome sculpt. I love the sculpt so much. And if you follow us on Facebook, I posted the sculpt that I finally finished for the King, Kurdos Valentin, the Graven King. So those are going to be my heroes. Lore-wise, it fits because they're married to each other. So they're going to be leading the forces of specters and ghouls to devour the enemies as souls, because they don't eat. They're not flesh-eater courts. But I could use them if I want to have a Grand Alliance army. But for the most part, I think I'll stick to Nighthaunts. So, my question to you guys, the viewers, is if you play Age of Sigmar, let us know what are the pros, what are the cons to it, what do you think of the model range, how does the game usually flow, like is it just as long as 40k, since it's a little bit streamlined I would assume it takes a little less to play a game, and if there's any tips and tricks to play Nighthaunts or Horde armies, let us know. Because again, we're just starting out. We haven't had an actual game. We just had that like introductory game to kind of set the rules, set the tone for what Age of Sigmar is all about. And yeah, let us know. Because for a while now, fantasy never really appealed to me. I think because of the whole Order of Man models looked really, really dated. But now that this is the second edition of Age of Sigmar, the model range has been boosted for most armies. Because again, like the Forces of Man, they're still super outdated. If you play them, you're pretty much playing it for fun because they're not competitive at all. At least that's what they said at the store. So again, if you guys have any tips and tricks for playing the Nighthaunts or the Stormcast Eternals for that matter, because that's mainly what Gershwin will be playing, let us know. And also we do have another player in our group who will be playing, I think it's the ogres or the guys that ride those like huge mammoth creatures. He's playing those guys, which from what I hear they may be getting a new book pretty soon, so they might be getting pretty strong and competitive. But for now, that's what I want to know from you guys. Any pros, any cons, tips, tricks? What color scheme should I go with? Is it easier to go with a Horde army with the Nighthaunt, or maybe that's just what they recommend? Again, I have no idea what I'm getting into, so I have a lot of reading, a lot of play testing to do, but For now, let us know what you guys think of Age of Sigmar, and expect some pretty awesome videos to come. Don't forget to check out the Facebook page, because I will be posting updates to the army there, so check it out, and that's all I got. Thank you guys for listening. This has been the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and I'll catch you next time with some more 40k videos.